Wondering how much does it really cost to RV?
We did a deep dive into year 1 and year 2 and we were blown away by what we found out. Prices are going up.
And not only that, but then we started investigating futures and what that means to the RVers and what's coming up.
Hyperinflation is on its way, guys. This video is going to help you prepare. Welcome back to the RV Odd Couple. I'm John.
And my name's Mercedes, and long story short, we RV in pursuit of freedom, independence, and adventure.
Because life is so short, guys.
It really is. And this video, you see, it was originally supposed to be a budget video just on year 2 of our full-time RVing budget. But as we started digging into the numbers, we're like, no, we got to switch things up.
Mercedes and I, over the past 2 days, have just dove in to the numbers. And numbers tell us stories, guys. We've got 3 pages here.
I've got 3 pages, okay? He's taking credit for my work.
But we've done a whole bunch of research of what it was like in the first year, what it was like in the second year, and what's coming. And what we found is a little bit spooky, and we're not trying to scare you in this video. We're not. We just want to show you. Numbers tell a story. And when Mercedes and I really started looking at the 2 years of us RVing, we saw so much valuable information that we wanted to share with other RVers. We also fell under the wormhole of looking at what's coming our way. Being full-time RVers, we want to try to forecast what our budget is next year.
Yes.
We were blown away by some of the things we thought we had saved on, but we actually had doubled some of these prices. So in today's video, we're going to go over that. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up, share the video. This is one of the most important videos we've ever done for those of you who are considering the lifestyle, because after we're finished with this video, it may be a little bit long, you're gonna get a great idea of what's going on when you RV full time and what's coming.
You see, year 2 cost us 39% more. We had some expenses that went up 73%, one in particular that went up 250%. But most importantly, at the end, we're going to talk about the future casting, what we can expect and what we can do now to save money and make the best decisions possible given what's coming. Budget numbers are extremely subjective. There is no one way to RV. So year 1, we went to 27 different states. We were traveling constantly. We have a 5th wheel that we drive with a GMC 3500. So we were full-time RVers living in our 5th wheel, right? Year 2, we were stationary kind of 8 months out of the year, and then the last 4 months we were traveling a lot. In those 4 months, we hit 14 states. Right. So that's a lot of states. We actually hit 4 new states. So in total, we've been to 31 states. Not too bad. Yep. Technically, we visited 48% fewer states, right? So technically, our RVing went down 48%. The same holds true if you look at miles. Our mileage also went down 43%, and that was, of course, because we were stationary. A lot was happening last year.
The panorama.
I'm not going to get into that, but if you look at the numbers, I mean, the first year we had 23,330 miles. Year 2, we had 13,344 miles. So very different numbers. What's crazy though is that most of those miles were really incurred during the last 4 months out of the year in year 2. Yep. And also our RVing changed. You see, we took a Class C.
The GG Mobile.
That we were lent. We took that the last 4 months of our second year.
We covered 5,000 miles. We had an absolute blast.
Yeah, technically our mileage in those last 4 months was really, really high because it was like we were making up for lost time.
We were blowing off steam for being stuck in one location while we got sage help.
The other thing that's crazy is that while we were stationary, is that if you look at the mileage that we incurred on the truck, we had 4,000 miles in the truck. That was all in like a 20-mile square radius.
Back and forth 4 times a week. Yeah, and of course, the truck is going to do a lot better gas mileage than when we're pulling a 12-ton 5th wheel.
Yeah, so I separated the pulling versus just the plain driving. Driving means that no RV is attached. Pulling means
we were pulling the big rig.
We're towing. All right, so we're gonna list these expenses in order of least consequential to most consequential. So we're saving that 250% increase. Yep. So like, for example, the first one, laundry. When we started RVing, we bought a 2-in-1 laundry machine, washer dryer, designed for RVs. They're super water efficient, and it broke. The machine lasted for a total of 21 months. It had a 21-month lifespan. So when you figure that, the cost of having our own 2-in-1 laundry machine was about $60.58
per month.
Yes. Well, now if you look at the cost of the laundromat, because then when that stopped working, we had to use the laundromat, we averaged about $60 a month at the laundromat.
Now, granted, guys, when Mercedes was doing laundry in the 2-in-1, it would take her all day.
And I kind of may have slightly broken it, because you're only supposed to use like a teaspoon of soap, and I use like a cup,
Half a cup,
and
yeah.
I would like stuff the machine. So bottom line though is that it was not something as consequential as far as the money goes. What really was impacted was my time.
Yeah, when we'd hit a laundromat, Mercedes was done with all the laundry in an hour and a half.
Exactly. The next one is really tied to the costs associated with RVing. So we took out a loan on the RV. Our monthly payments $4.99 a month. That has not changed. That's been consistent. We also had some maintenance. Our first year, the maintenance was tires. We blew a couple tires our first year. Our second year, we were stationary. Well, we actually incurred more costs with like pest control because we were stationary in Florida, and like modifications. You built that custom shelf.
Yep.
So we incurred more expenses in the maintenance, even though we weren't moving, which the takeaway there is that stationary doesn't necessarily guarantee that it'll be cheaper. One of the changes that on surface looks super minimal, but when you look at how it played out was huge, was our exploration budget.
Yeah.
So technically the budget only increased by 0.5%. But if you think about what we did when we did explore, we actually got so much more mileage out of the exploration we did, even though we were only able to explore for like 4 months out of the year. And the key to this was really those state parks, when we went to Horseshoe Bend,
Right.
you know, those kinds of...
The helicopter ride.
Yeah. Year 2, we did so much more with our Florida State Park Pass, and in a much more condensed amount of time. Now, believe it or not, we have a couple of expenses that actually went down. I know, hallelujah. Praise Jesus. The first one is the internet. Now, if you look at our costs for internet, we have Verizon, we have AT&T, we have a lot of redundancy because we travel full time. We have to have internet wherever we go. One of the things that we did was we made our business plan a little bit smaller. We got rid of some of the lines, and that helped us save about 9% on our internet, which is a miracle. Now, this is where we get a little angry. And this expense, I'm going to call the rat bastard expense. And this is storage. And the reason I'm so angry about storage is that it went up like 40%. So when we started RVing, we rented a storage space and it was $122 a month. Today, it's $175 a month.
Yeah.
And they increased it slowly, incrementally. So it's like, you know, when a lobster in boiling water, when you turn up the water slowly.
Yeah, be careful with storage, guys. Most of the stuff that we store is sentimental value stuff, right?
Yes.
It might be worth about $1,000. At this point, we spent what?
Okay, that's where you need to cover your ears because you're not going to like this number. $3,717.27.
Yeah, so what they do is they give you a great price in the front end, and then they drive that price up, and over 2 years we're up, what is it, 40%?
Yeah, so the bottom line and the takeaway from that is they're rat bastards. Now let's talk about the tow vehicle. The tow vehicle went up 41%, but that's really because we bought a Jeep. That really increased our monthly expenses, and we spent like $4,200 getting the Jeep so that we could tow it when we were towing with the Class C, the loaner.
Yeah.
So it did go up a lot, but really I don't think it would have gone up so much had it not been for that adventure at the end of the year.
And we love the Jeep. We love the Jeep and we love the community.
Yeah. All right, surprisingly, propane actually went down 50%. But mind you, this is not so much because the cost of propane went down.
It actually went up a little bit.
It went down for us because we spent so much time in Florida and we weren't using propane as often as we were when we were full-timing and going into higher elevations. I don't anticipate that being so low next year.
Propane lasts a long time, guys, if you don't use it for heat. Heating an RV is very, very expensive. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But if you're just going to be using your stove and an outside grill, propane is going to last a long time. So the next thing would be diesel, right? Fuel and DEF. Now that went down by 59%, but again, we didn't travel or pull like we did in year 1. Now I hate DEF. I hate it. It drives me absolutely insane when that bell starts ringing off that I got to find DEF, right? But it is what it is.
Yeah, he actually fights with the truck and like yells at it as though it could hear him.
Well, when my def light goes on, it doesn't allow me to read anything else. I can't look at any of my other gauges until I fill it with def.
Okay, so the good news is you spent 58% less on def.
I spent 58% less
There
on
you
def
go.
because we were pulling a lot less than we did in year one.
Exactly. This next one increased 73%, and it cost us a lot of other problems as well. This is our mail forwarding service. So from year one to year two, the price went up 73%, and there was a lot of things that happened. You see the shipping prices went up. There was also times where we had to overnight some things, so that increased the cost. There was also additional fees that we're getting charged now that we didn't used to get charged before, so that was a big issue.
Yeah, our mail is the one that kind of irks me, right?
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. So we're actually working on a solution because we signed up with the first one because that's what we heard to do, right?
Yeah.
We find right now that it's pretty expensive. So we're working on another mail forwarding service that is much better and a lot less expensive.
Well, and just something that's reasonable. This is why looking at the numbers is so important, because when we saw the 73% increase, and not only that, but
My head exploded.
yeah, and then there was also like we forwarded our ballots and we had to get them,
Cost us $140 to vote this year.
it cost us a lot, but hey, it's our civic
It is
duty.
what it is, yeah.
And so just because you're on a monthly plan doesn't mean that there aren't additional fees that are being tacked on. Should we do a ceremonial drum roll? Maybe we can have a drum roll
For
in the background for the expense that went up by 259%.
Yep, and this has taught us a lot, you guys.
Yeah, so first year we were traditional full-time RVers, and we purchased a Thousand Trails membership, and we spent most of our time hopping park to park and Thousand Trails. We have an upgraded Elite Connections.
Yep.
We'll put the info to who you need to get that from below, because when you use it, it's a no-brainer, and you save so much money. I mean, the
We were
numbers-
under $10 a night for our Thousand Trails in the first year, you guys. So if you use it, it's a no-brainer.
Yes, but, and here's the but.
In year two, we couldn't use it.
We had to be stationary, and so we actually ended up having to pay monthly rates. And now, mind you, what we spent in the monthly rate was really not that bad. It
I
averaged,
think it was ridiculous
Well, it
because
was
we
about-
had to stay in Florida
yeah, in the
in
same
the
location.
winter time. Now the Canadians were gone this year, but New Yorkers and Northeasters just came down there. So the price per month in the winter time in Florida, it's one of the most expensive states to RV in. $1,700 to $2,500, or even further higher than that per month. So it can be very, very expensive. The way they get you is they say, if you stay the whole year, bless you.
Sorry.
If you stay the whole year, the price goes down, because who wants to be in Florida in the middle of the summer? It is hot.
So in the summer, at one point, our rent was like as low as $650-ish. And then in the winter, we booked like 6-month blocks. So then it was only like $1,200. And I say only $1,200 because if you just go for a 1 month, it could be easily $2,300, $3,100 for just 1 month in high season. So by committing to being there longer, it was actually a better deal. There's 365 days a year, but there's more than 365 nights of camping. Especially in year two, where we were gone for 4 months, like traveling, we were still paying.
Right, we paid a year at an Encore park, right, to get the lower rate. But we had also purchased the Thousand Trails membership. So we were almost paying double, and that's why the cost went up so high.
If you look at year two, we're finding ourselves paying full price for RV parks way more than we did year one. Like year one, we were bargain shoppers. We were using our memberships, and we didn't stay at the place if we couldn't use our membership. Whereas year two, we had to pay full boat, and that was just the way it was. The other thing that we did was we broke down the actual cost to our upgraded Thousand Trails membership, and you can see there that those costs were pretty steady. That isn't going to fluctuate, but the bottom line is you have to use it in order to justify the expense.
Yeah, the bottom line for Thousand Trails, guys, it is an absolute no-brainer. There's no other way about it.
Yeah.
But you have to use it. I really believe that those who purchase it and don't use it pay for people that use it.
So before I give you year one totals versus year two totals, I need to add a disclaimer. You see, these numbers do not include medical insurance, prescriptions, life insurance, student loans or private debt, bad money habits, whether it's like drinking or in my case carbohydrates, basket money, you know, whatever basket you throw money into. groceries, restaurants, clothing.
Yeah, this is all subjective
so-
stuff. We're all going to do that differently.
Yeah, and what we noticed was that kind of didn't change whether you're stationary or RVing. You kind of tend to eat the same things. So these year 1 versus year 2 numbers are really just costs associated with RVing specifically. So our total expenses, year 1 versus year 2. Year 1, it cost us $47,012.31 to RV full time, which comes out to the average monthly rate of $3,917.69.
Now, we RV'd the way we wanted to RV. We like full hookups. We're glampers, guys. You know, don't judge us on how we live our life. RVing is so subjective, you know, and you can do it so many different ways. The cost can be as low as $1,000 a month, although I question that.
Yeah.
And it can be as high as $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 a month. It just depends on how you do it.
Well, and to piggyback off of that, now you're really going to judge us because now I'm going to share year 2, okay? Year 2, the total was $65,643.25. That monthly average comes out to $5,470.27. So that went up about 40%, and that's insane. Now, granted, we wouldn't have had 2 RVs for 4 months out of the year had it not been for the YouTube channel, and we were being reimbursed for those campgrounds.
Right.
But when I conducted the average of that cost, I took into account all the nights. You know what I mean?
Right. So remember, guys, I mean, the game changed for us when Sage was diagnosed with autism. That changed everything.
Yep.
And we seriously considered quitting at that point because
Yeah.
she's the most important thing. She's number one. She's always going to be number one. The truth is, she loves RVing. She loves
Yeah.
traveling.
She does.
We did know our costs were going to go up, but we didn't realize they were going to go up that much. And the other thing is that all prices are slowly going up. You know this, and that's why it's so important to have a budget. Kind of watch what's going on, because I'll tell you what, prices go up and they're going up fast.
This is probably the most important part of the video, where we're going to talk about the 3 places where we really see the prices going up, back it up with the data, and what you can do to save money.
So for the past 2 days, Mercedes has worked really hard on getting these numbers together. Obviously, there's a lot of information here. You could probably watch this video 2 or 3 times and not get it all.
Yeah.
I fell into the wormhole of seeing what the future looks like, seeing that we had our prices, our budget climb so much in 1 year. We all see our grocery prices going up, right? We all see our meat prices going up. I wanted to find out, how high is it going to go, because this is affecting every American's budget across the country. So I dug into the numbers. Where's the numbers? So the numbers I'm about to give you have gone up just in the last 6 months. I looked at the last 6 months, what's happened as we've RV'd, right? And we've seen gas prices go up 32% so far. Now, this depends on what part of the country you're in, right?
It is very subjective.
It's very subjective around the country, but gas prices on average have gone up 32%, 10% in the last month, you guys. This is starting to go parabolic.
So the way to save money on that one when you're moving is to be very conscientious how far you're moving.
Yeah, and keep your tanks filled, you know, because it could double overnight. Who knows? The next thing I looked at was corn, wheat, and soybeans, right? Corn is up 30%, wheat's up 23%, soybeans are up 30%, but it'll blow your mind is if you look at the futures market, which is a guess at projections in the future. Futures on these items are up to 142%, guys.
Yeah.
So we're about to hit hyperinflation in our country.
So the reason corn, wheat, and soybean prices are so important, aside from the fact that those ingredients are found in everything and they're used as filler in a lot of foods that you wouldn't even think of it, these are feed for livestock. So when it comes to prices of the meats that we're going to eat, that's where it really gets expensive.
Chicken prices are up 39%. Beef prices, just to feed the herds, right, to give us beef, are up 28%. And bacon is almost doubled.
Yeah, that bothered me.
That really bothered us, right?
Don't mess with the bacon.
Start stocking up on some of these items that you're going to need. Remember when the toilet paper shortage hit? We got a sneak preview back in the panorama of last 2020, what things were going to be short and how prices were going to adjust up. What drives me absolutely insane is the CPI that's given by the government, right, is such a lie to me. They say it's 2.3% right now. I don't believe the numbers, and I don't think any American believes those numbers. It's a paradigm of lies that we're living in. All of us know prices are going crazy and know that things are going to get tough in the coming years.
The next area of RV life where we really see that hyperinflation coming in, and we just saw it from year 1 to year 2. We can only imagine what year 3 is going to look like.
Scary.
Is the cost of campgrounds. And so here is where it's so important to book early, really lock in your pricing as early as possible. This is also where using those memberships is really going to be helpful, because if you use the memberships, they're worthwhile. If you only camp 2 weekends out of the year, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a lot of camping. That's where spending the extra money in the memberships does make sense.
Right. So have a 1,000 Trails membership if you full-time and you're going to use it. Have a Passport America.
Guys, a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer. You got to have a Passport America. We leave a link below. You'll get a discount from buying that. We love that Passport America. You'll save 50% on campgrounds because the campgrounds want to have you come in and take a look at their place.
Yeah.
So they just give you huge discounts that you can't get anywhere else.
And it's $44 for the year.
For the whole year. Use it once and it pays for itself.
Yeah. The other thing that's going to help to really get those campground prices lower is longer stays. So when you commit to seasonal rates or monthly rates or even weekly rates, we were able to save a lot of money there. We actually were given a little bit of discounts when we stayed there for 3 weeks. And sometimes the discount between a 3-week stay and a month stay
is a lot.
So you might as well just stay for the month and then you use less in fuel.
If they have the room.
If they have the room. Another way to save money on campgrounds, if you are a veteran, is to see if they have a military discount. A lot of places will give you an additional discount if you served in the military.
Yeah, another way to save money is Army Corps of Engineers. They have some beautiful parks all over the country. You know, and military members get big discounts. Things are changing so fast, and they are printing money faster than they've ever printed it in history. And all of a sudden, one day, I think we're all going to wake up and there's going to be a lot of shortages. So we've done a video on preparing for the worst, right? Go back and take a look at that if you can, because you should have 3 or 4 months worth of food. It's hard to plan like that in an RV, but there are ways that you can do it.
It's really important to look at this with a positive outlook, to be prepared, to see what's coming, but also to look at the good, because the reality is we're blessed. And I think that RVers are uniquely qualified to really handle what's coming better, right? Because we're not stuck in one location. So obviously we need to get rid of a lot of our expenses, as should you. This is really a good time to make sure you have a contingency and money saved for what could come. Obviously, if you're looking at budgeting and how much it really costs to RV, you're considering the lifestyle, probably because of the benefits we just listed. So in the next video, we're gonna line item the startup costs. These are the costs that we spent before we drove 1 mile in our RV, so that you can find out what it costs to really get going if you're interested in this lifestyle. We'll see you in the next video.